All right, everyone, welcome back into another fantasy golf video. Going to be touching on the Farmers Insurance Open, giving you guys the best picks, values, outright bets, just plays I want to be on, just touching on all the things you guys need to know without giving you guys too much information. Let's go ahead and get into it. But first, just a quick recap from last week. So last week, this was the sample build that I gave you guys to start out the video. Now I gave you another one as well that ended up doing pretty well as well. It's been a very easy start to the PGA Tour season thus far for 2024, but even dating back to the fall swing as well. I think it's like 7 or 6 straight events of cashing pretty easily, which that still isn't even close to the 3-month stretch that we had last year, but you know, hopefully we can get that. But last week was super easy, don't get me wrong. Been very easy to predict thus far the first 3 weeks of the season. I guess besides the outrights, I guess that's the sacrifice we're making. It's like PGA DFS, every other bets like placement bets and whatnot, super easy thus far. Showdown slate, super easy thus far, except for the outright bets. That's the sacrifice that we're making. But yeah, super easy week. I had a chance of taking down the mini max. Just wasn't in the cards for me. Same thing with round 2 showdown as well. Just didn't end up working out, but all in all, very good week. Can't really complain. This week though, however, looking at the pricing, and I think we should just start with there. Before I get into the preview, it is a 2-course rotation. It is a longer track, as you guys will see. But yeah, looking at the pricing that we get, it is very good. And so that is where the difficulty is. Now, just kind of my initial thoughts for the slate is that we could blindly kind of just click this, like do something like this, load up on these kind of mid-tier plays, maybe even low-tier plays like Jaeger. I feel pretty good about Ben Griffin, Adam Svensson. Like, this is a perfectly good build, but that's the issue. Like, it's not great. There's no clear-cut, like, egregiously mispriced plays, and the data will show that to you guys as well. I'll show you guys that in a second. But like this does feel like the first week in a long time in which it's not as straightforward as I typically it's not easy. And so maybe it'll be a lighter week. We'll see. It really could just depend on the ownership. But looking at this week weather wise, like, we're not too worried about it just yet. Seems to be pretty good weather like it has been the last couple of years. You know, we look at the past champions. It is typically a harder scoring event. It's a normal scoring event is actually what I have it categorized in the 9 to 5 database. And for those that might be kind of wondering what goes into that, basically if the cut line's over par, it's going to be labeled as a hard scoring event, and then if it's more than -3, it's going to be an easy scoring event. So we can see this would firmly be in the middle of that. Just looking at this list of winners, like, we can not really draw too many conclusions in terms of like who is typically winning this event. And for what it's worth, like, the key stats that does pull in as like the key stats, birdie to bogey ratio is number 1 actually, and then a little bit of 200 plus yardage, but I didn't like that too much. Kind of a mixed sample. It's actually greens and regulation, not even stroke gain approach. It's more greens and regulation. Players that keep setting themselves up not only to make birdies but to avoid bogeys, those are the players that are typically doing the best. Now, if we look at the players that had the best course history here, we got Colin Morikawa making 2 starts, 3rd place finish last year. Tagala with a top 5 finish, looking good there. Luke List, former winner at this event, also 4 straight make cuts here. Taylor Montgomery 2 for 2. Jason Day 3 for 4 over the past 4 years. 1 missed cut mixed in there. Tony Finau, same thing, 1 missed cut mixed in there. Max Homa, you know, same thing there as well. We do see a little bit of a California ties narrative. Players that are from California or play well in California tend to play better at this event. And for me, will I be directly going out of my way to target players that are from California or have those California ties? No, but if I'm deciding between 2 players, or if I'm pulling up the player profile and a player potentially has those ties, I might defer to them as a play. Like, let's say Xander Schauffele, maybe you didn't like him as a play. See his California ties, that's great. But if you guys want to see that, I'll just pull it up here real quick. So we type in California. It's kind of a nuanced thing. We got to click on all the California plays because this is pulling in their residents, like where they're located right now, where they went to college, where they were born. And this doesn't include like rookies and whatnot, but we had a general census of which players are from California that maybe we would want to target if we're trying to do the California ties narrative. And so maybe Max Homa, maybe Tagala, we can see those plays are popping up. If you thought Willie Z looked good last week, maybe you can potentially look at him. He'd be a decent play. Bo Hosler, someone I actually think is a great GPP only play, maybe a decent outright bet. Given the fact that he has course experience. Joseph Bremlett, maybe someone that has really played well at this track, decent value. Lanto Griffin, basically the exact same thing. But that's just kind of the way I like to use this. Justin Suz, another player that's popping up in there as well. But let's just talk about the top plays that we have this week. And so this is another week where, you know, seemingly good pricing. Last week, it probably shocked some people. It shocked me a little bit, but Xander was the number 1 play in the 9 to 5 model. And thankfully, the model was spot on last week. It had Sam Burns as one of the best best plays. And I have Alex Noren listed as a core play, which worked out pricing wise. But looking at this week in terms of like the top plays, Xander, then Colin Morikawa, then Max Homa, then Patrick Cantlay. And I think that's simply because Patrick Cantlay did not have as good of a finish last week as most people would want. But really all the plays that we have here, 1 through 7, you can make a strong argument for them. I'm not going to like knock anyone for being on one specific play over the other. To me, I really like the idea of going with Sungjae. He does feel like a super safe play that we are getting this week. One, because he has tremendous course history. Love seeing 4 straight make cuts to this track, but also love seeing 2 straight top 10 finishes, and his finishes have been getting better each time. That's something I like to see. Look at his recent form. His recent form has been solid. Now, last week, it was a scoring fest. I don't really care that he didn't have the best Sunday finish last week. Again, it's just a scoring track. I can kind of write that off. Had 3 really good rounds. Had himself in somewhat contention, a little bit too far back to really win. But man, he's just been rattling off some really good finishes. So at his price tag, to me, he's like the lowest priced of the elite plays. And so he has kind of been a starting point for me. From there, I do think really all of them are great plays. Max Homa, really all of them. I can't argue any of them, but I probably would next prioritize Xander Schauffele as the next pay up. Played well at this track in the past, has been playing pretty well lately. A 3rd place finish last week, and then 10th place finish in his first start. So yeah, again though, splitting hairs, this could be a spot where we get some good leverage here as well. Like Jason Day ended up being one of the best leverage plays last week, and that ended up working out. Now maybe not if you look at finishing position, but he actually scored higher than Scotty Scheffler fantasy score, so that was a big edge that was gained. Xander Schauffele was another one. Andrew Putnam was someone that made the cut, and then also Alex Noren was a good leverage play. So this might be a week where I actually default to leverage a little bit more, ownership leverage. Again, that's on the 9 to 5 golf tab. Go ownership leverage, and I'll show you guys who the top like leverage plays. That'll be at its normal time, just as an FYI. Tomorrow afternoon, the ownership will update, and I point that out because this event is starting a little bit earlier than typically would. But Jason Day is a good play as well. Like, played pretty well last week. Had a couple too many double bogeys, but all in all, fine play. Like, to me, those plays are all pretty straightforward. Where it does start to get interesting is someone like Eric Cole, who to me does seem to be a little bit mispriced this week. He has just been playing extremely well. Another one of those golfers like Sungjae that didn't have the best Sunday finish. I don't think we should be drawing any like significant conclusions from that. He's kind of been someone that really just been playing well. And a lot of people are going to see his miscut at this event last year and maybe write him off. I'm kind of okay with that. Like, the data has shown that it's better to have course experience than not have it for the most. No, it is. That's what the data has told. And the recent form has been spectacular. Second best recent form in the field. Stat fit wise could be a little bit better, but this is still dating back to last year's data a little bit as well. Greens and regulation, fine in, but all in all, he's just been playing so well. I don't mind ending up on him. Harris English is a play that I really like as well. He is someone that last season did not have the best season, has been playing much better as of recent. Now he is someone that has really struggled to make the cut here, and so that is a concern for sure, but the form has been there. We see 3 top 10 finishes over his past 9 starts, 2 top 10 finishes over his past 4 starts. Like, that's enough for me to look at him as a play, but all in all, maybe a little bit too thin. I actually think Keegan Bradley makes a ton of sense as a play this week, but we know the Keegan Bradley rules. Like, when you start to trust Keegan Bradley as a play, that is the exact time that he really hurts you in a week. But good course history, 2nd place finish, 65th and 16th place finish, coming in off of a 2nd place finish. Like, I think he makes for a great outright bet. Like, that's a bet that I think people should be placing at 29 to 1 odds on average. That is a pretty good bet. I'd be perfectly fine recommending that. As pricing though, he does feel like a safe play at that price. Tagala missed the cut at last week's event. Again, more of a scoring track. It's not great that he missed the cut, don't get me wrong, but all in all, like, I can kind of write that off. I'm kind of fine with it. Still coming in as a very good play. Very much hit or miss though, it seems like. So you can play him for upside, do not play him as a cash play. Then from there, I'm hoping that Justin Rose doesn't get too much ownership because he could be a play that I end up on. The issue with him is that we look at his starts on the PGA Tour recently, they have not been upside finishes. They've been kind of lackluster. So that is a concern there. Does have good course history here. Look at the data in terms of long-term. He'd be someone that you think would play well at this track, and I think that's been proven in his course history. But all in all, this is what I mean, guys. This is the difficult part about this week. It's like we really aren't getting that many great plays, and so that is going to make the lineup process more difficult. And that to me is where I might just end up punting to this range. Like Luke List, a former winner, has been playing well, made 9 straight cuts on the PGA Tour now, 4th best course history in the field. Just seems to have an eye for this track. Recent winner on the PGA Tour, 7 starts to go for him. All in all, not a terrible play, especially at this price tag. So we're getting playing a guy that has good course history at a cheap price tag. To me, that's definitely interesting to me. I'm perfectly fine ending up on him as a play. We go down to Jaeger as a play, who's just been a dream cut maker. The issue with him, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to end up, I do end up on him as outright bet, but it's like, it just feels stupid at this point because he does feel like a very safe play, but lack of upside type play. Now, I thought he might have been trending into some upside form. That did not occur last week. Again, kind of can write off a little bit of last week. I mean, Kevin Yu, top 5 finisher. I mean, look at who won the tournament, right? It's definitely a higher variance tournament. We kind of knew that. But Jaeger, 1 for 2 here. All in all, it's kind of tough just not to roll with him because we've been rolling with him a bunch. Just a cut maker. It would feel wrong to pass up on him, honestly, as a play. And then from there, Ben Griffin just continues to produce really good results. Made the cut at this event last year. 2 top 10 finishes over his past 3 starts, including a 30 place finish mixed in there. Just been playing extremely well. Again, not the best half hit, but we're going to have to make some sacrifices this week. It's not an elite field event. And then from there, like Adam Svensson, I'm definitely going to be up on guys, good specialists, good stat fit, good recent form rank. Hasn't made the cuts here, a little bit concerning there. Bo Hosler looking like a very strong GPP upside play as well. Like, I'm fine getting there, but that's the issue this week. Akshay I actually do really like as well. Missed the cut on the number last week. Like, I'm fine with that. That's the issue this week though, guys. It's like we don't have safe plays. So like ideally for me, I'm probably just going to be trying to get to one of these plays and kind of feeling okay about it. I'll try to get to Eric Cole and Keegan Bradley if possible. I feel like those are 2 safe plays as it sits right now. And I'm going to punt down into this low tier range. Probably going to go with Jaeger, just chasing that make cut that he's been doing. Ben Griffin, I do feel like is a very good play as well. For what it's worth, if we go lower, like Justin Suh is a California guy. Minus 12 last week. Again, I don't like he played fine. Minus 12 is not bad, but it doesn't make you feel warm and fuzzy. Cheston Hadley has been someone that's been playing well. I do worry that this track's a little bit longer. That doesn't exactly suit his game. Like if I had a punt to like this low 7K range, it'd be Davis Thompson, who has been playing well as well. But at 6.7, like man, it is a tough week to make a great build. It just is. Maybe I go with Matthew Naismith, who has been playing better recently. Like that doesn't feel great at 6.6, but to close out this build, I'd be fine with it. But also at the same time, it does feel like a week where we probably are just going to go fair and balanced. Hope to get lucky. I'm probably not going to be playing as much as I typically would. Last week was a week in which I went a little bit heavier because I thought we were getting some pretty big edges. That could occur again by, lineup lock. But right now, as it sits, I don't love the field that we have. And so giving you guys a first look build is definitely difficult because I don't like the lineup process that we're having. So I'm going to have to try to figure that out. So I do feel like this is a good starting point. Let me even take out Jaeger out there. Like Jaeger's a safe play. How much upside is he going to give us? Again, that's the difficult part that we have. That's going to be all for this preview core plays first look video. Trying to give you guys a lineup process, but again, it is a more difficult week this week. If you guys want access to any of the tools at 9to5sports.com for fantasy golf, head on over there. $10 a month. Thank you guys for watching. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cash.